Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight here on Rome Business Radio. My name is Roger Manus, and we are coming to you from the Hardy Realty Studios, and we work in partnership with the Rome News Tribune to distribute Rome Business Radio. And again, the purpose here is to celebrate small businesses in Rome and Northwest Georgia, find out about their stories and what they can do for you and help network and maybe create connections so people can do business with each other. We are joined today by Pam Powers-Smith, the Director of Business and Industry for the Rome Floyd Chamber. Also joined by Larry Alford, who has his fingers in a lot of little endeavors, owner of Rome Cleaners, Service Master, Furniture Medic. And we're joined by Pete Lemons and Brian Richie, who are with Plaza Transport. So first of all, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you for having us, Roger.
Well, and for our listeners out there on the podcast, obviously, because of social distancing and everything, we are coming to you via Zoom. So we are not in the same room, and the audio will be different from different sources, but we're all just used to that in this day and age, I guess. It's just the way we're living our lives and conducting business. So first and foremost, let's just kind of go around and give us a little bit of a broad overview of your business. Guys, let's start with you at Plaza Transport. Pete or Brian, what is Plaza Transport all about?
So Plaza Transport was founded in 2004, primarily in the cotton industry, and they have moved cotton all over the United States. There's about a little over 3.5 million bales of cotton produced in the United States, and Plaza Transport moves about 60 to 65% of that cotton. And so we have been in business for quite a long time and enjoy getting out and moving all of the cotton around that we can. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, the realization for Pete and his co-owner Jeff was they are really tied deeply into the cotton and maybe need to diversify a little bit. And that's where I come in. I have not new to Rome, but new to transportation, and have just really enjoyed getting to know Pete and networking here in Rome. And we had a chance to meet with Pam recently with the chamber and just trying to network as much as we can.
Funny enough, let's just switch to Pam since he kind of introduced you there. Pam joined us a few weeks ago. You recently joined the chamber as Director of Business and Industry. You had headed up the chamber down in Opelika, Alabama, as I recall. And one of your frustrations was you kind of took the job right in the middle of the pandemic, so you weren't able to face with people yet and go out and start connecting. Can you give us a progress report? Are you making inroads?
Slowly but surely. So these two guys don't know they were one of my first in-person meetings here in the chamber. So it's nice to see you again.
Absolutely.
Slow would be the answer to that, but at least it's something. So I have had the opportunity to meet some folks in person. I've taken a handful of plant tours, even though I'm covered head to toe in something when I visit the plants. But so I'm excited that I'm finally getting to meet some folks for sure. And I hope I can continue at least doing that on a gradual basis going forward.
So your responsibility is the development of new or helping old?
Helping old. I like how you put that. So yeah, just solving problems for our industries. I've already had to do a handful of things. I joked the other day at our board meeting that one of my first jobs was solving the sewage problem. So that's exciting when you first come to town. But helping our existing industries and making sure they have what they need or answering questions for things for the future for them.
All right. And Larry, let's come to you now. You guys are kind of all encompassing in a few different areas. But first and foremost, just give us your general business overview. What are you guys totally involved in?
The majority of our business is involved definitely in the disaster industry. Started years ago, of course, talk about diversifying. We started years ago as a cleaning company, cleaning carpet. And that's what initially we started as. Then we moved into the disaster field, and that's really where all of our companies are based in. What we do is disaster area, going out and doing disasters for fire, water, storm damage, mold damage or whatever, stuff like that. So that's the majority of our business on a day-to-day basis.
And you have various franchises around, is that correct? You have one
Yes.
in Rome, actually. And when did you get to Rome?
I'm sorry?
When did you start the one in Rome? 20 years ago or
something? We started the one in Rome in 91. So we're coming up on 30 years. Of, I know I was about 3 years old, I think, when I started it. No, we did start it it's 29 years right now. So, but yeah, we started in Rome as me and my brother and one guy. We bought an existing business here that had one guy, so we brought him on when we bought it. And then we've been very blessed to be able to take our company to where we've taken it to, and had a lot of challenges, but we feel very blessed to be able to do what we've done. So we currently serve in 4 states. We do work all the way to Knoxville, all the way down to South Atlanta, to Augusta, to Gainesville, North Atlanta. We cover all of Metro Atlanta. Every county in Metro Atlanta, we have a franchise that covers that. So,
well, I guess it's disasters are bad, but fire and water and all of that. Have you been affected at all with the pandemic, or are those things just not affected at all?
You know, when it first came out, we was afraid we wasn't going to be able to get into it, because you go to homes and businesses, and we was afraid businesses and homes wouldn't want us in. But we started preparing earlier, as quick as they did. We started preparing for personal protective equipment. So we moved into that, got all that protected, and really we stayed just as busy as we have been. And then we started picking up preemptive and post cleaning from COVID-19. So we ended up getting that business, not counting already the business we had. So we've really been trying to hire people because we've been so busy.
Well, that's good to know. If somebody's interested in working for you, what's some contact information? What do they need to do?
They can just contact our office or go to servicemastertwins.com.
Yeah, because there's a lot of unemployment out there, obviously from other services. Plaza Transport, what has been the trend in freight through the pandemic? I know you're primarily tied up in cotton, but what have you all discovered how your business has been affected?
The U.S. textile industry has really slowed down a whole lot. So much of the yarn that is spun goes to Central America, Latin America. It's where the cutting and sewing plants are. So those countries are still down. There's a few mills coming back up online now, but it's been very slow.
And you had mentioned an attempt to diversify. Is that harder because of the economic slowdown to try to find?
A lot of people are still working, 2 or 3 days a week. Me and Brian has been around to several businesses in Rome, and they're up and running today, but they may be down a couple of days from now. It's just, it's hard to, as Pam said, it's hard to sit down and meet with anybody right now because so many people don't want people coming in.
Yeah, Pam, what are the indicators you're getting from businesses around town about, slowly sticking their toe back in the water to get going again? Or I know we're seeing uptick, Broad Street's more active, some of the retail and restaurants, things like that. But what is your experience from the business leaders you talk to?
Well, I think for small business, we're going to plateau for a minute. I think they're going to continue doing curbside pickup and then dabble in folks coming in the store. Many stores in downtown provide masks at the front door. So I think we'll stay there for a little bit. And then I don't know what will happen after that. And I think our industry is 95% back to normal. So it's obviously easier for plants to get back online. It's harder for downtown and other small business because people come in the door all the time. So I think we're going to be at this spot for a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about backgrounds here. Larry, what is your professional background? How did you end up where you are?
That's a funny question right there. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go be a paramedic. So I went and started as an EMT, then moved into the paramedic field. And when I was going to paramedic school, I had the opportunity my brother came to me and he wanted to know if we wanted to buy a business. So we just stepped right in at 21 years old, stepped in the business. So never had it. I had helped them some when I was in high school. I helped the owner that we bought it from. So no, it was just kind of stepping in at a young age and trying to learn a business at 21 years old. So,
well, looking back, were you so naive that it didn't matter you jumped in, or
well,
were you really, really, really smart?
Well, I wasn't really smart, probably. I've never been that, so I can't say that part. But no, when we started looking at the opportunity, it was an opportunity we had. And I tell people all the time, a lot of times you get in business, you get opportunities. And we feel like we got a very good opportunity with a guy that was wanting to get out of it. He self-financed the business to us, and I don't know if I'd ever been able to go get the money if he hadn't self-financed it. So being so young, but no, we decided to get into it. We both are self-motivated. So when we got the opportunity, it was just I kept thinking, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my career the other. I'm going to do this part-time. Well, then it started gradually moved into, no, this is your full-time job. That's your part-time job. So yeah, it was fun, it's been a fun event, but definitely naive. You learn a lot from getting in there. When your only employee is twice your age, you learn something about it. So.
Yeah, I guess so. And you're a twin, right?
Yes, I am.
And y'all are in this business together, obviously.
Yes, we've been in business together. If we don't kill each other, we've been in 29 years now. So,
are you identical?
Yes, we don't look much as we used to, but we are identical. Yes.
I remember you mentioned years and years and years ago. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she and my grandfather were married over 50 years. And I asked her once, I said, Granny, did you ever think about divorcing him? And she said, no, I thought about killing him, but never divorcing him.
That's it.
I guess twins share that same bond.
You always have a challenge being partnered in a family with family members. And so you learn a lot from that for sure.
All right. Over Plaza Transport, Pete, what is your background? How did you get where you are?
If you've ever been to Center's full of cotton everywhere you go. So I was raised on a cotton farm. Front yard was a cotton, backyard, side yard. So my dad worked for a local cotton gin in Cherokee County. So I've just always been around cotton. So after school, I went to work at the warehouse that I'm a part owner of now. So I worked at the warehouse for, I guess, about 10, 15 years. And then me and the local gin here bought out the gentleman that I was working for. So that's how I got my start in the cotton business. Then got in the trucking business through my contacts at the cotton warehouse. People would call up and say, I'm trying to find some trucks that'll go to Leesburg, which is 5 miles from here. And as you know, Roger, sometimes that's hard to find a truck that wants to go 5 miles.
Yeah.
So I just kind of fell into the trucking business like that. But of course, Center's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. So I'd call up a guy that had a truck and say, hey, do you want to go to Leesburg? He said, yeah, I'll start doing that. And that's how we involved, and that's how we got our start.
And you've just grown from there.
We have grown from there, yes.
And Brian, I know you're new to the industry. You said you just started at Plaza a few weeks ago. What is your professional background?
So I've done a little bit of everything. When I came out of school, I went and worked for the home building industry, and I ended up being the CFO for a home building company in Conyers, Covington, Georgia. From there, that home building industry bubble kind of burst, if we remember back about 12, 13 years ago. And I was a victim of that. Moved to Nashville, actually, and worked as a purchasing manager and operations for a small industrial company there. And from there, I went into sales and did sales for the last almost 9 years. And things kind of happened there. And we have been in Rome. My family has been in Rome for the last 8 years. I am married to Betsy Height, who is Charles and Lee Height's daughter. And so, Larry, I think you know the Heights pretty well, if I'm not mistaken. And just great people. The Publix shopping center in Rome is actually named after my wife's grandfather, the Charles A. Height Square, and just really good people. And so since I've been in Rome, I was working for a company in Nashville, so I was in the steel industry and traveling quite a bit. So there really wasn't a necessity to really get involved in the chamber or in the community as much. And so from there, we just have kind of gravitated towards transportation. And Pete, Plaza Transport is an asset-based trucking company as well as a brokerage. So we handle a little bit of both. And if you don't know what that means, it's asset-based is where you own the trucks yourself, and then brokerage is when you find the trucks and find the shippers and kind of marry them together. So it's been a wild ride. It's been an awesome opportunity, and I'm just excited to kind of see where this takes us. We were talking to Pam earlier this week, and we feel I feel that same hesitancy from trying to go in and network and meet people and go on plant tours and do those things. And so it's been a little bit of a challenge with the pandemic, but with that said, everybody's kind of in the same boat. And so my colleagues in the steel industry have called on them as well, and they're not quite up and running, whether that's in Indianapolis or in Arkansas or kind of wherever. That industry is a little bit slower as well. And so yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to actually get involved with the community and do some community work. And obviously we go to church in Rome, and have been in Rome for, like I said, 8 years, but haven't really had the opportunity or the need to get to know people on a personal level and a professional level.
Pam, before I move on, living in Nashville, just curious, did you ever meet any country music stars?
I did. One quick story was one of the famous places in Nashville to eat is called the Pancake Pantry. And we were, it's so popular. It's right on 21st Avenue, really close to Vanderbilt University. And you have to stand in line. The line wraps, it's that good, it's that popular, you have to kind of stand in line outside. And so we were standing in line for 20 or 30 minutes, and my wife looks to me and she says, I think that's Keith Urban behind us. And lo and behold, Keith Urban is standing in line right behind us, and did just like everybody else. So really good people. And was
Nicole with him?
Nicole was not. He was with some band members.
She doesn't eat pancakes.
Yeah. But yes, really great and great people. Got to know some songwriters and other people as well. And just that community is pretty tight.
Well, we digressed there for a minute. I was just curious. During the 1996 Olympics, I was working in television in Atlanta and had the pleasure of interviewing Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, who were not married yet. They had just started dating. So I always tell people to tell Faith Hill I said hello. But,
absolutely.
Pam, one of the interesting things that struck me from both Brian and by both Larry and Pete talking there was that you can touch on if you like. It's just the entrepreneurial spirit. Mm-hmm. Larry and his brother jumped in at a young age, risk and reward. Obviously, Pete was doing this cotton thing, and then trucking kind of was coming toward him, so he just ran with trucking. But just that entrepreneurial spirit for a business community. Can you touch on that a little bit in your position at the chamber?
Yeah, and a lot of it's personal opinion, but it's exciting to see people that have that spirit, because I feel like it's less and less all the time. And really, our favorite businesses are the ones owned and operated locally, and the ones that took chances in the beginning. And I ran a business with my husband, and we survived that. But it is interesting to see the ones that take chances and the ones that don't. So I always love the ones that put their whole heart into it and take chances, like Larry and Pete. I love those stories myself.
Well, one thing about that is we have this motto here in our business. I don't know if it's a good motto, but it's see a need, fill a need. We always try to see a need in what we do in disaster. And really, we have multiple companies. We do construction outside the disaster field. It was really a mitigation company, just cleaning up. The way we got into that. Now we do, of course, our dry cleaners. We do all kind of soft goods, and we do electronic cleaning through our textile side of our business. So we can take a disaster that we did 10 years ago, and it was maybe $1,000, $2,000 job. Now we can make it $10,000 to $20,000 because we've decided to see that need and to fill that need. And now we can make it easier on our customer because we can do the full package of every job, and it's owned by one of my companies that can do that. So you don't have to worry about getting an electrician out. We have an electrical company. We have First Choice is another company I have. It does electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. So we do that. That's not even on the list right there. So, but we definitely can go out and take one job and do anything that we need to on a disaster. I got tired of waiting on people to provide service for me because I'm in the disaster field. You have to be very, very rapid at what you do, and they don't have time to wait on you. So we've moved into it. I got tired of waiting on others. So yes, I do have multiple irons in the fire, so to speak. But we can take a customer and move their job faster than what we could 3 years ago. And that's what everybody's looking for, fast. They're looking for fast and efficient. That's what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting. The see a need, fill a need. So you basically applied that to your business model. You said, I'm not getting the services I need to help me deliver ultimately for my clients. So let me fill that gap myself.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very proactive solution. So, applause to you. What are some of the other challenges as just a small business person over the last 20, 30 years? What are some of the bigger challenges you have faced?
The biggest challenge, and that's, I think everybody would say the same thing. It's staffing and employees and keeping good quality people and being competitive in the marketplace. We had an office in Nashville about 3 months ago. We got out of Nashville because it was very difficult to find employees. I had an opportunity to sell it, and it worked out good for us. But the hardest part about Nashville, their unemployment rate was so low. So we just looked at it and said, it's better for us. And plus, we bought the Atlanta market since then. So we decided that moving into Atlanta, we could do a lot closer and have our people be more efficient at what we do. So, but yeah, there's definitely challenges of employees. And then also communications got so much better over the years. 15 years ago, you couldn't have done what we do. We do everything from one office here in Rome. We have 17 people in our office that work on a daily basis. So we don't have staffing and office staff in every one of those offices. We just have operations managers, marketing, and we have, of course, technicians and people that go out and work in the field.
Pete, what have been some of your challenges running a business all these years? It's people tend to forget, employees are the lifeblood, but their paychecks got to show up every Friday or every other Friday or however often you pay them. And that's on the boss to make sure that gets done. What are some of your challenges that you faced as a business person?
Being in the trucking industry, as you know, Roger, the hardest thing we face is insurance cost. Insurance goes up every year on trucks. Finding qualified drivers is it's a real tough market. It's a very competitive market. So if you find a good driver, you're going to really have to pay that guy. So therefore, you got to pass that along to the shipper, who a lot of times don't want to pay that. But that's the toughest part of the trucking industry is the truck driver. They are at a real premium. And I read the other day where another 1,000 trucking companies went out of business last month because of COVID. And it's just it's not too bad now, but when stuff hopefully does pick up, I think the rates, if you're paying a truck $1.80 a mile, now you can do that. But I think when things do pick up, hopefully that's soon, that those rates are going to skyrocket like they did 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, rates went to the point where we were paying, when electronic laws came in and the truck couldn't go over 600 miles a day. So that meant he was carrying, maybe he used to run 800 miles a day. Well, he couldn't do that anymore. It was illegal. So, rates probably went up 60% at that time. And I think they'll go up again like that because of the shortage of the drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say you're right in the middle of the supply chain, which has obviously been impacted. So, I mean, is it coming back?
It's coming back a little, but it's coming back very slow, very slow.
I was reading something on social media, doing a little research this week, and from what I'm hearing and seeing, it looks like there has been an uptick in the last week to 10 days before kind of the July 4th holiday, and that's typical for this time. But what they're projecting right now is for that to continue to increase after the holiday, which is not necessarily typical. Usually after the holiday, it kind of falls off. And, when you're a freight broker, you're dealing with produce coming online to, supply chain retailers opening back up and shipping product all over. And so, to be able to look at that is really critical for our business.
Yeah, everything affects the price of fuel going up and down based on the world economy, even outside of a pandemic. It would impact your business. Pam, are there any businesses that you run into that are, for lack of a better word, thriving, taking off because of this? I've been reading some articles about like some of the outdoor recreation industries, bicycling and kayaking. What are you? There's going to be certain industries that are struggling and some that are probably benefiting. What are you finding?
Yeah, basically what you just mentioned. So ATV sales are up, bike sales are up for sure. And then some, not all, but some of our retail stores have really found their footing online where they had not before. So even some of our small mom and pops in downtown jumped into action and started putting things online. And I'll tell you why. It's because people locally wanted to support them but couldn't go in person. So they were shopping online, but then it just expanded on its own from there. So people from out of town started shopping online. So I hate that they didn't have a retail store online before that, but now they've really found their footing. And like I said, not all of our retail stores have found that success, but there have been a handful of our retail stores that sales have been up from the past couple of years because of online sales. So kudos to them.
Yeah, and maybe they're finding new ways to do business. We've had like restaurants on here before that have now put in drive-throughs. So they're going to keep the drive-through, things like that. So in many ways, maybe it's a blessing. But for our guest here on the show today, like Larry, you can't do what you do online. You have to, and neither can Plaza Transport. You got to be out there doing the work. So has that presented any unique challenges through the pandemic?
Well, for us, it did some. It's just our concern was just not getting our customers. But we already use personal protective equipment a lot of times on our jobs for mold damages and stuff like that. So we already had some of that. We did realize that it was going to use a lot more equipment. Our first thing we did is start trying to figure out how it's going to protect our employees. And really, even if you came into our building right today, we have divided our building up into pretty much 4 quadrants. People cannot go into different quadrants, just because I was thinking if we had an outbreak in our facility, what would happen if everybody had to be out of work? It would shut us down. So we have our building divided into 4 sections, and everybody cannot go into another section unless they're fully protected. But we do have small quadrants. We have 4 or 5 in each team, and we want to protect our people because we can't be put out of business. If we didn't have our office staff, we would be out of business because we couldn't answer the phone or do the service.
So that's very, very proactively. That's brilliant. You're keeping you're working, but you're quarantining by team.
Yes, right. We did. Yes.
so that if a team goes down, for lack of a better word, because they get the virus, your other teams have been protected. You're quarantining inside your business.
And even our own employees, our technicians go in the field can't come in the office. They only have an area they can go into. So it's almost like we're working mobily, but we are working in our facility, all of them, but we are separated.
Well, one of the last things I want to ask you guys here as we kind of go around one final time, and I guess Larry, we'll start with you. Is you're not retail so much as you're business to business, I guess. What do you do to market? Is it word of mouth? Is it just networking? Is it because you've been in business now 30 years and the Service Master brand helps?
For us, we definitely use a Service Master brand, but we still have to do marketing. We had to, our in the field marketers had to change their position, had to change what they did. They've just now started to get back in the field in the last couple of weeks, really the last week or so. They've really started trying to get back in the field, and they've been well received. We don't want to go in there. We see insurance industry people at different companies, so we started really doing we started calling our customers. We started emailing them better and started contacting the agencies and stuff like that. And they was glad they heard from us because they didn't know we're still open for business. And then we really pushed a big social media, and we pushed really big on pay-per-click marketing for us because people go look for us online or they call their insurance agency. So we had to change some, but our biggest thing is just definitely social media. Pay-per-click marketing has been the biggest thing we've invested in, and better online presence.
And Pete, is your business a word of mouth? Is it a knocking on doors? Is how do you get the word out about what you do? I mean, advertising, industry publication, what?
Well, in the cotton industry, I've been in the cotton industry so long, I know a lot of people. So it's just networking, going to see those guys and stuff. What me and Brian are forming here, it's all new for me because I've been so tied to cotton. So yes, we've been trying to go knock on doors and seeing people and, introducing Plaza Transportation to them and, letting those people know that my office in Center is going to be cotton, but Brian's going to have an office in Rome, and he will be able to sell our service to any industry in Rome, whether it be a flatbed or whatever it might be. So it's what we're doing in Rome is totally different for Plaza Transportation, but we feel like we got a good person in Brian to help us get those contacts in there. So I think we're on the right path.
Brian, that's got to be good to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And,
how is the chamber helping you in those regards as you try to connect and generate business?
Oh, it's invaluable. Jeannie and her staff with Pam and Thomas and Mary Grace, they have all been amazing. We joined the chamber about 2 weeks ago, maybe, and have just tried to lean heavily on the chamber because they know what's going on and they can identify needs or wants, or they have their finger on the pulse, and we've been able to come in and meet and sit down with them, as well as network. And customer service is really the name of the game for us. It has been for me personally. It has been for Pete and Jeff and their team here in Center, Alabama, and we're going to continue to do that.
Pat, that's got to be good to hear.
I want to throw in one thing about the chamber that a lot of people they forget about. RoamGA.com is one of the best things that we can use as getting employees. We use that website all the time looking for people, and we've had more successful in RoamGA.com than any of our franchise areas in any of our states. RoamGA.com reaches more people to get us good employees than anything we've ever done.
Wow, Pam. I was going to say, did you write that for them?
No, but I was actually going to brag on Larry because he is super active in the chamber, and I think that's important to show up in person. He knows folks. I just met him 2 weeks ago, but Larry has been very active at the chamber, and we appreciate that investment of his time.
Well, it's a great big Rome Floyd Chamber love fest here on the Small Business. So let's just do contact information. Larry, what's how can people get a hold of you if they're looking for work, or if they want to do business with you, or they've had fire damage?
They can go, of course, they can go to our website, servicemastertwins.com, or they can go to our Facebook page, ServiceMaster Twins, or they can contact us at 706-232-0255, or they can come by our office on 411 at One Hillendale Drive, where our office is out of 411, about a mile past Walmart on East Rome.
All right, Brian and Pete, how can people get a hold of you guys if they need to?
So I am at, my email address is brian.plazatransport@gmail.com. Phone numbers 706-290-3518. It's always on, and I'm ready to answer it.
And Pete?
I'll be contacted at plazcott, PLAZCOTT, @tds.net. My contact is 256-613-2138, Center, Alabama.
Yeah, we're on Zoom here. I know our people listening can tell we're on Zoom. We had a little fun before we got started because there's a Alabama print framed hanging up in the wall behind, and I'm a Georgia guy, and Pam apparently likes the Auburn Tigers. Larry, what is your team of choice?
Bulldogs.
Well, it's just a great SEC love fest, isn't it?
I will get everybody some Alabama propaganda.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, Pete.
We were getting along so great. We were getting along.
Right?
Let's just hope we have college football this fall.
That's right.
Into that.
Yeah, we want business to come back, but we also want college football to come back. All right. Thanks, everybody, again for joining us. That's Pam Power-Smith with the Rome Floyd Chamber. That's Larry Alford, owner of Rome Cleaner, Service Master, Furniture Medic. And it's been Pete Lemons and Brian Richie with Plaza Transport. I'm Roger Manus. You have been listening to the Rome Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight, coming to you from the Hardy Realty Studios, working in conjunction with the Rome News Tribune. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.